Okay, now, for this assignment, you're going to need to follow along extremely closely. This is like Simon says. Remember saying Simon says? Okay, Simon says, put your arm up. Simon says, touch your nose. Jump up and down. Simon didn't say, okay? You're going to have to do exactly what I do today so you can learn this stuff, and then you're going to be able to use this more in future days. Okay, so here we have a spreadsheet. It should have your name at the top. Okay? We are in Google Classroom. We're at day 19. We're at the top right. It says spreadsheets. So what is this thing? This is one of the 4 superpowers of a computer. You know already one of them is communication. You do that on your phone all the time. This one is called computation. This is calculating with numbers. This spreadsheet has rows and columns. We got rows 1 through 10, columns A through E. We can make that as big as we want. I had to delete it down to this size. Each of these cells is like its own supercomputer calculator. It can do any formula you've ever seen from math. It can use algebra. It can do numbers. It can do anything you want. But we're going to start with the very, very basics. Okay? The first basic we would start with is just putting something in here like spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on this box. You're going to click on this box and you're going to type spreadsheet. And we'll look and see what happens. You're going to see the word spreadsheet appear here in A1. You're going to see A1 appear here. You're going to see the word spreadsheet appear here. So it appears in 2 places. Okay, you should be doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing. This is like Simon says. Amina. Okay. Let's see. Let's make a very basic spreadsheet. Press Enter key twice. 1, 2. You'll go down 2 cells. These things are called cells. Imagine them as cells in your body. Or you can imagine them as prison cells in a prison or in a jail. Either way you look at it, it's a cell. It's called a cell. Okay? So let's put another word down here.
You said press it twice?
Yep. How about car note? Okay, car note. You guys know that you're going to have maybe a car note at some point? A loan, mortgage, something like that. Let's say your car note each month is, what, $300, something like that? Or is that too low? Is that too low? Okay. Notice you can put words or you can put numbers. Those are 2 different things. And if you're an AP CSP, you know the difference between a word and a number. A number is stored as a binary number in the computer. Words are stored using an ASCII table. Okay? Press Enter. Let's just put a couple more bills in there. Let's just add some bills up. Maybe we got rent. You're sharing a place. $600 maybe you're paying for rent. Okay? Notice how nice this looks. This helps us keep track of the numbers. Maybe this is our monthly budget. Our monthly expenses we know that we're going to go through. Food. Everybody's got to buy food for one person. If you're being super frugal, not going to restaurants, just going to Aldi or Meijer or something, buying pasta, buying beans and rice and those sorts of things. Maybe $200 a month. Just an estimate. Okay? What else you got? Well, of course, you got insurance on the car. If they stop you and you don't have insurance, you're going to end up in jail probably. So you got to have insurance. Let's say insurance is just $150 a month. I don't know exactly what it would be. Depends on how many times you've been stopped. It's mainly how many times you've been stopped. Also, what car you're driving. The newer the car, the more expensive the insurance. The older the car, the less expensive the insurance. The flashier the car, More expensive. Nice and plain and simple and boring? Less expensive. Okay? All right, what else? Let's do two more. What other would be like two other major expenses a person would have? Yeah, a lot of people go without that, but you're right. We could do health insurance. Let's do something more practical, though. Let's do like utilities. Oh, and phone. Okay, utilities would be electric bill, water bill, trash bill, heat bill, right? We'll just bundle them all together, okay? So let's say it's 200. Again, I'm just making some guesses right now. That's okay because we're just learning how to use the spreadsheet. And then phone, I mean, if you're paying more than 50 for phone per month, then you need to get a new plan, so why don't you put in 50? I have an unlimited plan for $30, and it works perfect, so. Okay, so there we go. Nice little spreadsheet. Now I'm going to show you some of the superpowers. Now this looks pretty and everything, no problem. But what are the superpowers of the spreadsheet other than just being able to put the numbers on there? Well, first of all, imagine if I asked you to add that up. Well, you'd want to get out the calculator, you want to do the math in your head. Spreadsheets can do it instantly. You just have to know how to talk to the spreadsheet. So right here in cell B9, we're going to type our first formula. So a formula tells the spreadsheet what to do. Formulas always start with an equal sign. Always. And when you forget the equal sign, you just put it in there. So press the equal sign. You'll notice that it knows exactly what to do because it's got a little bit of AI back there. It knows we're going to want to add up those numbers. It says sum. Sum means to add up. It's B3 colon B8. That means everything in the box from B3 to B8 is going to be added up. Now I kind of don't like that it put that in there because all you have to do now is press enter and it'll add it up. But you can go ahead, press enter, and we'll look at it. Okay? Now look up top here. What is it doing? It's going from B3 down to B8. That's the range. It's called the range. And it's adding up, summing everything inside there. There's different ways we could do it, but that's what it's doing. Now what if we want to see that a little closer? Let's put our mouse on top of the 1500 and click once. Let's double click. Aha! Double click. There we go. When you double click, it's going to show you with a color, a dotted line, the range. And you're going to see the word sum there, which means to add up. Okay? So that's the first little functional superpower. You just put equal, sum, and then you tell it what the range is. Now let's look at another little superpower. Please click into cell C3 just here. C3 on the car note line.
Hey, sir. I got 12. My math ain't math somehow.
Okay, let's double check our number. Do you have 300 for car note?
Yes.
I got 15.
600 for rent?
Yes.
200 for food?
Yes.
1,500 for insurance?
1,500?
Sorry, 150 for insurance.
Yeah. Yes.
200 for utilities?
Yes.
50 for phone?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at your formula then. Click on the formula. Is it saying sum B3 colon B8?
Yeah. Mine says B4.
Okay, so if it says B4, you've got to click into it. Sometimes it's a little tricky to click into, and you got to change it. Yeah, if you had B4 there, it is going to do that, right?
Why does it do that though?
I don't know why it did that.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know for sure why it did that. Yeah, you're exactly right. It is not doing it for you. It's you making sure it's doing it right. Okay? It cannot do the work for you. You have to understand it so you can check it. Okay, back up to C3, right? We're back up to C3. But how much is it for a year? How would we figure it out? This is monthly, right? How much for a year? What would we need to do? We'd have to multiply by 12, right? Okay? Here's how we do that. So straightforward. Let's see, it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to have to do 5 things. And I'll tell you in order. Number 1, you have to press the equal sign. Number 2, you have to click on the number you're going to multiply with, which is the 300. When you click on the 300, it's going to type B3 in the little box. B3 is just like X in algebra. It stands for something, and what it stands for is the number that's in B3. So B3 is like a variable. B3, it's going to look at B3 first. Then what? Well, we want it to multiply by 12. How do we do multiply? We do star or asterisk. So you press your star or asterisk, that's your operator, and then you press 12. Now this looks kind of tiny. Oh, it even has given us a number already because it knows what we're doing. 3,600. Looks good. When you press enter, it's just going to put that in there, and oh my, I forgot it was going to offer to autofill. It's offering to multiply each of these numbers by 12. And if you click on the check mark, it does it.
Oh, you can just press Control Enter.
Control enter, yep, same thing. I'm going to make this a little bigger because I know people in the back can't really see it, and there's no reason for me to have it tiny because I'm not hardly looking at it anyway. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I should have done that earlier. Okay, now, this is kind of cool. Well, all this is cool. I'm trying to remember how to do this. There's a way to have it show the formulas. Control plus accent mark. Where's accent mark? Is accent mark on the tilde above the tab key? Do you guys have a tilde? Oh, you do. It's above the tab key. So hold down the CTRL and then press that. I'm going to write this over here. CTRL plus the acento, like that. It's like a backward apostrophe. Okay, now you can go back and forth. Look at this. It'll show you exactly what you're doing. It's the control plus the accent mark above the tab. Yep. So it shows you exactly what is it doing. This is what it's actually doing, right? It's taking what B4 is, and it's multiplying by 12. It's taking what B5 is, multiplying by 12. Down here, it actually multiplied that one by 12. We could have done it by just adding this list, but it's doing the same thing. It's using the same formula. Okay? So we can see if we wanted to just have these bills, I'm going to go back, we would need to bring home, after our income taxes and our state taxes and all our taxes, we would need to bring home at least $18,000 to be able to afford that life. And I'm sure there's more expenses than that. Okay, we got our car note, we got our rent, we got our food, insurance, utilities, phone. There's no Starbucks on there. There's no savings on there. There's no trips on there. There's nothing on there other than that. And that's if you can get rent for $600, if you can get food for $200 a month, if you can get car insurance for $150 a month, if you can get your utilities down to $200 might be a little high for utilities probably. Phone, a lot of you guys have phone for more than $50 though. Okay. Are there questions so far on the spreadsheet? Okay. True story. My great-great-grandfather, when his family moved to Michigan in the 1800s, he really liked chemicals and medicines and things, and he started a pharmacy where you could come and get medicines up north in Michigan. And when he got old, he'd already trained his son to become the pharmacist, and when he got old, he'd already trained his son to become the pharmacist. And then Nobody wanted to be a pharmacist anymore, and so the business eventually was sold. But what he did is he did all this on paper. He had a piece of paper, they had rows and columns, and it was called a spreadsheet. That's what it was called. But now we get to use spreadsheets on a computer. It does all the math for us. We never make a math error. We can make an entry error, and we can make a formula error, as Zeke pointed out, but we're not going to make an addition error, right? Well, you ask Miss Bowen if she can write you a pass in the back. Okay, now next thing we're going to do. This is just one page in our spreadsheet booklet. You'll notice at the bottom here there's a plus sign. We have a sheet called Basic Skills. That's the one I gave you to start with. We're going to make a brand new sheet. This sheet, though, is going to be massive. It's going to have 1,000 rows, and it's going to have like A through Z for columns. Okay? So go ahead and go down to the bottom left and press Add Sheet with the plus sign. When you press Add Sheet, it's going to add a brand new sheet right here. It's called Sheet 2. So go ahead and do that. Zeke. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start building the spreadsheet that you're going to use all school year. Good question. What did I do? I just went down to the lower left-hand corner. I pressed the plus sign. It makes a brand new sheet. It's called Sheet 2. Okay? This sheet, as you can see, it's got a lot of columns. The columns go all the way over to F. We could go farther if we wanted to. We just do double A, B, A, C, I mean, it would just keep going and going. All the way down to the bottom, like 1,000, something like that. We're going to call this one My Household Budget. My Household Budget. We're going to place that into cell A1. I really like how you're following along here. That's excellent. You're going to press Enter. And now we want this sheet to also say My Household Budget. Instead of Sheet 2, Sheet 2, that's hard. I mean, 3 years from now, you're going to be looking at that. You're going to be, what is that? So we're going to go down. You're going to click on Sheet 2. Double click. Oh, yeah, there you go. Double click it. It'll make it white lettering with a blue highlight. And then you just type in the same thing, My Household Budget. My Household Budget. I apologize that that's so low on the screen for you, but I wish there was a way to arrange this classroom where people in the back, their head was, they were able to see the front better. I suppose I can make this shorter. How would I do that? I guess this would work. And that's higher, right? You can see it. Okay, My Household Budget, right at the bottom there. I don't like all this busyness, though, with that. So I'm going to go back to full screen view. Okay, line 3. We're going to skip a line. We're going to call this Income and Deductions. When you get your first paycheck, if you've already gotten your first paycheck, you know that you have gross income. That's the money you're paid, $15 an hour times 14.3 hours. But you also have deductions. There's money that's taken out even before you get it. Some of that is estimated based on how much you tell your company you think you're going to earn in a year. And there's a reason for that. So you've got to do a paperwork. I don't remember if it's called a W-2 or something, where you say, this is how much I think I'm going to earn. So base all the deductions on that.
I thought the W-2 was how much you earned through the whole year.
Yeah, it's not the W-2. It's something else. There's some other form. I'll have to look it up which form you do. Okay, so underneath that, let's put total. I can ask. Go ahead and type total gross income like that. I'll ask Gemini. Hey Gemini, what is that thing, that paper that people have to fill out before they start a job so that the business can estimate how much to take out in payroll taxes? I know there's a form, I just don't remember the name of it.
Okay. You're probably thinking of the W-4 form. It's what employees
W-4
fill out so
form.
their
Yeah. It's called the W-4, not the W-2, sorry.
The
Okay.
The W-2s for when you pay your taxes.
Okay, total gross income, right there like that. That is the total you get to start with. Let's do just an example. Teachers here have a total gross income, first year teachers, second year teachers, third year teachers of about $44,000. That's around, I'm rounding a little bit. Okay? So what's going to happen? You're going to have various money come out. You're going to have what's called federal income tax. That money you never see. Oh, sorry. Let me undo this. I did something which I totally forgot to show you. You'll notice right now each of these columns is the same width. You can change that just by grabbing on this line and then like pulling over. But there's an even kind of cooler thing you can do. See, if you put your mouse above that, it's going to change into this weird arrow thing. And if you double click, it's going to try to make it wide enough that your words fit. So double click on that, and it'll make it just a little bigger. Or you can hold down on it, and you can make it as wide as you want. So between any two columns, you can do that. But if you double click, it'll try to squeeze it down as narrow as you can get it. Okay? Federal income tax. Federal income tax is calculated, it's complicated. I was sitting down with one of your other seniors. I don't remember who I was sitting down with. Lyric, I think. She was calculating this last week. Federal income tax, the more you make, the more they take, basically. For the first $10,000, you don't send in anything, but then it goes up and up and up. Let's just say for a guess that this is $5,000. I don't know that it is $5,000. It would really depend on a lot of things. Okay, next deduction you're going to have is your FICA, Social Security tax. It's usually not called a tax on your pay stub. What you are told about what that is that this money is being put into an account with your name on it in Washington, D.C., and when you are ready to retire, you're going to be able to take that money and get a check every month called a Social Security check or a Social Security payment. And we'll talk about whether that story is true or not later, but for now, let's just write that down. Let's say that's $2,000. Again, this is just an estimate because we just want to get some numbers in there. You're going to have one more FICA tax, which is called Medicare. Both of these, if I remember correctly, these were formed in around the 1930s when grandmas and grandpas were starving to death because they couldn't get work and they didn't have any income and they didn't have any savings. And Roosevelt was like, this is not okay. And so Social Security was invented, and of course he had to convince Congress to approve this thing. And a lot of people in Congress have never taken a class in money. Actually, most of them have never taken a class in money. So they don't really understand how money works. They think a federal government is like a household, where you have to bring money in order to put money out. That's not true, but that's what they believe. So he had to say, oh, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some money, and that money is going to go to a savings account, and then we're going to use that money to pay out. The story for FICA Medicare is right now there's people who are going to the hospital and doctors who are senior citizens, and that money is coming from the federal government to pay those bills. That's called Medicare. Okay? And so the idea there is that little bit of money is somehow magically transferring to the doctor bills for the people that are getting their doctor service today. So this one, we imagine Social Security is a savings account for the future. This one, we imagine we're helping people right now who need doctors that are grandmas and grandpas. Or great-grands and great-grandpas. Okay. Those three are in a special class. Those three are federal government, U.S. government. Okay? The U.S. government is not the same as a state. Federal government can just issue money by sending a refund check. You know, refund checks came out during COVID, right? Everybody got one. $1,000, $2,000, whatever it was. Federal government can just do that, just like I passed out pieces of paper to you last week. Is there a limit to how many pieces of paper I could have passed out? No. Could it maybe impact prices? Yes. But is there a limit? No, there's not a limit. The national debt is how many of those pieces of paper have been passed out. So if you ever heard national debt, that's what it is. It's how many of those were passed out in dollars. Now we're looking at state next. State's a totally different thing. State of Michigan, they're going to have a tax, right? They're going to have an income tax. Now that is really money that they have to have. The state has to have that money. Otherwise they can't build the roads. They can't pay for the schools. Those are like two of the big expenses. Okay? They have to have that money. They can't just make money from nowhere. They have to get the money in. The only state that can actually make money from nowhere is North Dakota, but that's a whole nother story. Let's say state of Michigan taxes $1,700. Okay, what else we got? You guys live in Grand Rapids, so you're going to have Grand Rapids city tax. Ooh, I'm going to show you something cooler than this one. I think Grand Rapids city tax is just 1% of your gross. I'll have to double check it, but I think it's pretty close to that. So how do we do 1%? Well, we make a little formula. That means for every $100, $1 goes to the city. So you put an equal sign. It's going to suggest sum, but that's not what we want. We don't want it to sum. We're going to click on the 44,000, which is in B4. And now it's going to say equal sign B4. And now we want 1% of that, so we have to change it to a decimal. Does anybody remember what 1% is as a decimal? Do you remember? Right. So we're going to do a time sign, 0.01. That's 10%. That's 1 penny per dollar, $1 per $100, $10 per $1,000, $100 per $100,000.
What'd you do again?
I typed equal. I clicked on B4. I pressed star. I typed 0.01.
And it pop up.
No, it's not going to pop up. You actually have to type it in there. Or you can type it up here. These two are the same thing. This cell and this cell are the same thing. A lot of times people work up here, or you can work down here. The nice thing about this one is it shows up all the time. If you have your focus on a cell, it'll show you what's in the cell. It's not going to show you the math answer. It's just going to show you what's in the cell. Okay, so when you press enter on that, it should give you $440, right? That'd be 10%. Deshaun. Need me a text? Please put it away. All right, that's your warning then. Okay. There are other things that are going to come out. You're probably going to have your union dues. You're going to probably have retirement savings. You're probably going to have health vision premiums. But let's just leave it at that for now. And let's make a subtotal, which we're going to call total, skip a line, net.
We're just skipping a line?
Yeah, we're skipping a line down to 11. Total net income. So this is what you bring home for the year. Okay? If you're salaried, that means they tell you how much for a year. Teachers are salaried. Business people, most are salaried. Managers are salaried. That's compared to hourly, where you're just getting paid based on the hour. Okay, we're going to do equal sign. We do not want to add them up, do we? Because this is money coming in. This is money that was subtracted before we even got it. Okay? So we're going to have to do it in a special way. We're going to say, okay, let's take B4. That's what we've earned in our minds anyways. This is what we've earned, our gross. And we need to subtract all of those, which means we can do a subtraction and then add up all those and do the subtraction. So we're going to put in a minus. So now we have equals B4 minus. And then we're going to sum, S-U-M, which means to add. And we want to sum which cells? Say it louder, Romani.
5 to 9.
Which 5? C5, 8, 5, D5?
5, 8, 5.
No, we don't want the A's, we want the B's. B5 through B9. So how do we type that? First of all, you have to put a parenthesis because the sum function inside parenthesis is what it's working on. So then we're going to type B5. We could click on B5 also if we want to click on B5. What was the connector that you connect between two cell names? Colon, 2 dots. So you put a colon. And then the last one you want in there is B9. B9. And then your other parenthesis. Okay? So what it's going to do is it's going to take your 44,000. It's going to subtract these mandatory deductions or reductions, whatever you want to call them. Some of these go to federal, and some go to the state and Grand Rapids City tax. Of course, Grand Rapids would not have money if there wasn't a tax. How would they get the money? Grand Rapids does not know how to make money out of nothing yet, at least. Press enter, and now you're like, holy moly, Mr. W, they're only bringing home 33,000? Just wait till you see the monthly. Okay, so let's go to monthly right next to that. Oh, let's do a controlled acento just to see what we got in there. Apparently I put an equal sign on this one, that's fine. I'll change that so it doesn't have the equal sign. But you should have two formula in there. You should have this one down here, which is calculating the tax. The reason I'm not doing that for these is there's a more complicated formula that we'd have to do. We could make the formula, it's just more complicated. I'm going to make this a little wider. Oops. There we go. You can see that that's, I'm going to click on that one so it's at the top. So that was equal B4 minus sum, parenthesis, B5 colon B9 parenthesis. How are we doing so far? Okay. All right, so now let's figure out monthly. I'm going to press the control and the tilde again. Let's put this yearly at the top of this column. B3, yearly. Yearly. Then go right next to that, we're going to put monthly. How many months in a year? How many months in a year? 12, right? So what are we going to need to do from our yearly to get to our monthly? Divide it by what? Divide by 12, right? Okay, so we're going to go into this cell, C4, and we're going to make our simple formula. What do we have to type first? Say it louder. Equal sign, exactly. So this is kind of the opposite of math class, right? You're going to start with the equal sign instead of ending with the equal sign. Oh my gosh, it's already predicting what we need because Gemini is already reading monthly and it's already reading the 4,400. 44,000 is reading the yearly. It's saying, do you want this? Do you want to multiply B4 by 12? No. We want to divide it by 12. So Gemini is not always going to be right on this. So B4, you can type B4 slash 12. Slash means to divide. Okay? So we'll see what their gross is per month. Enter. And it's suggesting, do you want us to divide all the rest by 12? Yep. Let's divide all the rest by 12. And then down in net income down here, let's do the same thing. Equal sign. Oh, and look, another way to select B11 is you can just use the arrow key to go right one time. Or you can click on it. Or you can type it. There's like 3 ways to select the cell. So if you press left arrow, it's going to go to B11, then slash 12, and you've got divide by 12. Clearly this doesn't look pretty because it's got all the decimals in there, but we're going to fix that in less than a minute. So pressing enter, monthly take home $27.80. And we could work that down to weekly if we want to. Let's work that down to weekly. Okay, go over into cell D11. There's 52 weeks in the year, so we're going to divide their take-home by 52 weeks. And we'll see what they bring home in a week. So that's equal sign, left arrow, gives us B11, slash, for divide, 52. Okay, $600 a week. Okay? And we could break that down again. We could break it down by divide by 40 to see how much per hour. It'd be what, 15? Let's find out. Let's go over one more. Equal sign, left arrow. We got D11. Let's divide that by 40. Most teachers work more than 40. I mean, it's hard to do a teaching job on 40. Most do 50 or 60. So about $16 an hour for a first-year teacher. What's the formula? Yeah, just a second. Let me switch it. There you go. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Good point. Okay, so just notice how powerful this is. With a simple spreadsheet, you can figure out monthly, yearly, you can do the taxes, figure out how much is going to be reduced, and that can give you like, well, this is how much I've got per week. I got to make my plan for my month. You can figure out how much per month. Okay, let's go back and let's get rid of all the weird numbers, the weird rounding. We're going to do this in a magical step that most teachers would probably not do. We're going to click in this magical square right here. This magical square is the everything square. It's at the top left. It's above 1 and to the left of A. We're going to click on it. When we click on it, it's going to select all. The entire spreadsheet has been selected. And now we're going to apply a format on it. We're going to apply money on it. The money button is right there because we're talking about money. This is money class. So you click on the money button. It changes it all to money. It gets rid of the rounded pennies or and if we want to make it even a little less pennyish, you click here for select all, and then you click there for change it to all the monies. Now you normally wouldn't want to do this on a spreadsheet because every number is suddenly money now. And a lot of times on the spreadsheet, you'll have stuff you don't want to be money. So instead, you might select column B and then press money. Or you might select column C and then press money. Okay? Maybe you want a column that's percentages. You press the column and then you press percentages. Let's get rid of the zeros there because we don't need those. You see this button right here, which has like a 0 with a decimal and then a left arrow. Click that 2 times. And now we're down to dollars. It looks nice and pretty easy to read. Okay? Okay, one more time. I click this one right here 2 times. Okay, spreadsheet superpower. You now are in a group of elite humans on the planet that have used a spreadsheet. You've narrowed yourself down to about 1 out of 5 people on Earth know how to use a spreadsheet. Yeah. So do you have a submit or something? Okay, you got to do submit twice. There's like submit, and then you have to press submit again.
Oh, is it turn in?
Yeah, turn in, and then submit, turn in, turn in, turn in. You got to turn it in twice. Yeah. It only asks you to do it once?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good job today, everybody. Please put your warm-up in your green folder, please. Toolkit Tuesday. Toolkit Tuesday.